Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the next session of the HiTOPS 2021 Virtual Trans Youth Forum. What a day it has been so far. My name is Billy. I use he, him pronouns. Just want to let you know the HiTOPS staff is here just behind the scenes and will be helping to moderate the chat today. This is where you can ask questions and share comments. So chat us your questions because you may hear them be asked.
Hi, I'm Katie. I use she, her, and he, him pronouns. I am 13 years old, and this is my first year being on the Trans Youth Advisory Board. I am part of the Spotlight video team as well as the keynote speaker interviewer team, and I have the honor of introducing an amazing person. Please give a warm welcome to producer, actor, and writer, JJ Maley.
Hi. Hi, I'm JJ Maley. So nice to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I am a producer, writer, actor, and gender consultant, and my pronouns are they, them, and he, him. Thank you for having me.
Welcome. We are very excited to talk to you today.
Indeed we are.
So at HiTOPS, we start each group with an icebreaker question. We thought it would be cool to ask each speaker the same question. So if you could learn any skill instantly, what would it be?
Any skill instantly. I think I would love to be able to play piano really well. I used to play when I was growing up, and I don't really know how to play anymore. And I'd love to be able to like accompany myself on piano.
That'd be really cool, yeah.
Thank you.
I would like to do that too, honestly. It's very legendary sounding. Okay, so let's get right into it. You are one of the youngest Tony-nominated producers on Broadway. What shows were you nominated for, and what was your initial reaction to being nominated?
I was nominated for Indecent and for What the Constitution Means to Me. My initial reaction was just like I was pretty astonished, I think, and just excited to be part of the team of such amazing shows. For Indecent, that was the first nomination, and it happened on my birthday. So it was an amazing birthday present. I was turning 23, and it was like the best thing that could happen that day, and I just had an amazing birthday. And getting to be around Paula Vogel on my birthday was like pretty top notch for me. I'm a big fan of hers, and that whole experience was just incredible of getting to be around people that I admired so much and spent so much time of my life looking up to as my queeros, as I like to say, or queer heroes.
That's a great way to say it.
This is wonderful.
So getting to be around the people that I had spent so much time looking up to was just amazing. And then working on What the Constitution Means to Me was the same experience. Heidi Schreck is so amazing. So I was just thrilled for everyone involved. And yeah, that's pretty much what I was just excited and yeah, just felt honored to be a part of the process.
That sounds amazing. So you act, direct, and produce things. So which one do you enjoy the most, and which did you start doing first?
Um, I I I like them all for different things, to be honest. I think like at the current moment, I'm really enjoying pursuing acting because I'm really liking and I'm really enjoying writing as well right now. I think that I'm liking the way that acting allows me to like step into trans stories right now and get to play different trans narratives. But I really do like them all for different reasons. They all bring a different ability for me to work in different stories. It's really exciting for me. I think I started acting first. I started acting at a young age. We connected over this, Katie, but Katie's currently in Oliver and is a star, and I was in Oliver in sixth grade and played Oliver, and that was like a very formative, I think, young trans experience for me that I didn't know at the time, but maybe was very exciting for me to happen. And um, yeah, I think acting first, but was starting to learn the skills from watching other directors, I think, about other parts of the journey.
That's wonderful. It's so cool that you could learn all of that.
You're in Oliver now, right? Is that what you were working on? Or is that what
Um,
you were was that what the dirt was that you had when we talked before?
that was from Peter Pan.
Oh, we're talking about Oliver. I'm sorry. I
We
thought.
were talking about Oliver,
Oh, I
and
thought.
then Peter Pan is why I had dirt on my face.
Oh, I thought someone said it was from Oliver. Okay, I was like, okay, never mind. Peter Pan. That's fun. Okay, different show, but kids. We get it. Okay, my bad. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Um, Being a multi-hyphenate person, meaning that you have a list of professional accomplishments, how do you feel you use that superpower to help trans young people?
Um, that's a great question. Thank you for asking that. I hope that it means that I can bring different angles to how different young people can see themselves in stories. I hope like when I produce, I can find ways to advocate for young trans people to see themselves in stories. I hope when I write, I can write for more trans stories. I hope uh, when I act that people can see themselves in the stories. And yeah, and then when I do my gender consulting work as well, I hope that I'm being someone that is advocating for the right sort of messages to happen. I think what I'm doing a lot is working with different writers or nonprofit organizations and helping them work on telling the stories correctly or how they're working within their companies to advocate and with well, at least for with when I'm working with a story. I'm working on how is the character speaking that will be an accurate representation of what a trans experience is like or a non-binary experience is like. And then when I'm working with a nonprofit company, that would be like how are they functioning within the company to be an inclusive space, or how are they one particular company is working within schools and they're helping to educate on LGBTQ um, communities in general, and so I'm particularly working with them on like the trans experience and how our classrooms can be more inclusive in that space, so that how they can incorporate that into the everyday classroom.
That's
It
really,
is
really
so wonderful that you have that opportunity and you can make those big differences. So, the pronoun song from Love is Love is Love is a message of kindness and acceptance. Also, Body to Match My Brain is a song that hits home for so many trans people. They are two of my favorite songs. So, how did you feel singing them? Did it seem extra important knowing that so many people would connect with what you were saying and would hold in their hearts?
Yeah, I think it felt really incredible to me to sing them because it was the first time I got the chance to play um, a part that, or at least in a singing role that was speaking directly to like our experiences, and so getting to sing like a, about being trans and like I think like as a performer we know that like when it's a musical theater piece you sing sometimes when it's like more than you have the words to communicate sometimes in theater that's like what uh, when in a piece they'll have someone sing. And so I feel like getting to sometimes I don't have the words particularly to communicate with someone what it's like to be trans exactly, but stepping outside of that and trying to explain the experience in a song can be an extra emotional experience. So getting that opportunity was really cool, and it I hoped that it would reach other people who could connect with it. And there's something about music, I think, that's really universal that I hoped people outside of the trans experience would also find a connection to. Um, like, I think music can really bring something in, which is why I've connected with musical theater a lot in my life. So I hope that there would be people who are not trans and are in a cis experience who would the music would be something that pulled them in and just made them feel something that then they could find something that they could relate to outside of that that then made them think of things in a different way. So yeah, I hope that it brings many different people in.
It's so cool that you're thinking of all these things and letting them and making them come to life.
Yeah, like your idea of like drawing people in with music, I think that's a really cool idea, and I think it works well because everybody likes music. So, you are an executive producer of an immersive queer nightclub musical, Oscar at the Crown.
Yeah.
This is a two-part question, by the way. Why did you want to be part of this musical, and can you relate to the story in any way?
Yeah, so this was a really new experience for me. I had never been a part of a project like that, and it was super exciting because this was in a like at a bar in the back basically, and it was like a dance piece at the same time, and I could relate to it a lot because it was about a bunch of queer people seeking refuge with each other and trying to find chosen family, which I think is something a lot of us do in finding community within each other because there's something that we can discuss with each other that feels like an innate bond. I think a lot of times that like there's something that we don't have to discuss with each other automatically, that's just understood about our experiences. I think when we get together, that's just like when like we got on Zoom and met the first time. I feel like Billy and Katie, there's just like an immediate understanding about the things that we have all gone through and will go through, and that didn't have to be said. That was just like I see you and I get you and I'm here for you. That was sort of like we got on Zoom and it's just like, hey, like let's chat, and like
Yes.
yeah, yeah, and I feel like that happens sort of yeah, my people, exactly. And that's sort of it was really exciting to be a part of a piece like that. And I think like we're all looking for seeing each other and finding each other, and that's something that it was cool to work on something that was about so long ago that was about different ways that people were seeking that. That was about bringing that to now, and the combination of how we're doing that now with the online communities we form now, but placing it about Oscar Wilde and the ways like people were secretly finding those communities at the time. That makes sense.
So, with the musical being immersive, for you, what does that mean to like immerse people and have it be like inclusive and things?
Yeah, so this immersive piece particularly meant that it was happening all around everyone at the same time. It meant that like it was a 360, if you will, experience of like of it was constantly moving and the audience was constantly moving around everyone at the same time. So there were moving blocks, and the audience was moving. And like you said, it was in the back of what was a bar space, essentially. So people were all shifting around each other and immersed in this experience that was basically like we're bringing you in. You are part of this community, essentially. That was like you're now in this refuge space with us that we have built. Um, so that's why it was chosen to be like that versus like in a theater that's like we're we're on the stage, but you're the audience instead of creating that distance.
That's wonderful. So, speaking of the audience, we have an audience question. So, Summerfield asks, what is an accomplishment that helps the LGBTQ community that you are the most proud of?
Um, I think I am um, currently most proud of that I'm taking steps to write trans characters because I think like for a bit I was stepping away from that because I was afraid of writing my own experiences because um, it was a fear of mine in some ways. I think like I was um, afraid of being like defined by my experiences or having that be my like being the only thing I was putting forward in my work, and I wanted to show like a myriad of my talents and skills. Um, but it's so important to me as part of my experience, and it's so important to me to continue to put out into the world. And it is one facet of my experience, and then I and it's a drop in my experience, and I like I said, I have a myriad of talents and skills that I'd like to show, and I that is like it's important to me to write about, and I think I'm proud of my ability to say like and this is important as well. So I think for me like that has been hard to write about because it feels so personal, but um, I am enjoying writing about it the most because of that, I think.
It's amazing that you can be so outward and inclusive and open with yourself.
Thanks, Katie.
Yeah, it tells that you're good at writing when you're putting yourself into like really putting yourself into characters and stuff and putting your own experiences into characters. I think that's really cool and it's really it adds your own touch to it.
Yeah, I
Um,
completely agree.
yeah. So you are I think did you help produce Be More Chill?
I did, yes.
Yeah. So it's very great accomplishment. What are your favorite
Indeed.
song or scene from Be More Chill?
Um, I do have a couple, but this is a not a very, I guess it's not an original answer, but I love Michael in the Bathroom from Be More Chill for anyone who knows it. I think it's a very universal experience to feel um, alone in a space in where you are. I've literally had that moment in many a times in the bathroom where I seek refuge in the bathroom and I cry and I yeah I've definitely needed that experience, and I feel like many people have, and I just love the way George Salazar played that part.
Me
He's
too. Yeah.
lovely and just such a lovely person in general, and I yeah, I really love that moment. I think another one is um, the smartphone hour, just because I think it's
That
so
one's
um, uh,
great.
it's just so fun, and like they all had so much fun on stage that I like it was just a joy to watch every time, and I was always like mouthing along in the audience, and I was like, and it just made me like want to be on stage really bad. So I think that's another great one.
That sounds like so much fun.
Yeah, they were all such a joy to be around in general, and I'm really glad that a lot of especially young people seem to really connect with that show and feel like it showed a lot of themselves in that piece.
Yeah. Well, shout out to August Sanders. Um, Hi, I love Be More Chill too. um, have you ever been turned down for a job? Or so this got dark after that after that very light question. Have you ever been turned down for a job or had barriers because of your gender identity?
Um, I don't think that I am aware of ever being turned down for a job specifically because of that, but I have specifically kept my gender identity to myself or not included pronouns for that fear. There have been like a lot of times um, where I've applied to jobs or I've been in meetings where like it could be important um, where I have like wanted to keep that until I found out if I have the job, and then been like, great, and these are my pronouns, and you're gonna respect that. Which sometimes I feel which for a long time I didn't put my pronouns in my email, and now I'm like now I put them everywhere, which I feel um, very strongly about now. But when I first was when I first came out, I like came out and then didn't come out professionally, and then I did professionally, and I think like I've just decided that I don't want to work with people who don't want to see me for who I am, because it's
Yeah.
gonna have like a negative experience with them in a working relationship ultimately, if that's going to be an issue, which is like easier said than done, I think, but uh, is ultimately like I think at the root of like who I want to be working with. Yeah, I think that's ultimately like that is in line with my morals and goals, but it's it can be hard to be afraid of in general. But there are a lot of people who want to support people as well. Like it sometimes can be hard to look for the supporters, but they are there.
Yeah. It's
So
also, oh,
that
go
is
ahead.
utterly wonderful. Sorry for cutting you off, Billy. What were you gonna say?
I was just like that. I think it's great that you had that value of gave yourself that value and honored yourself by starting to think of it as more, do I want to work with this person if they aren't going to respect my identity? I think that's something that
Yeah.
everybody should learn. Everybody should have that. It's hard, but you got to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
So more of an upbeat question. What's your favorite genre of music or one of your favorite music artists that you really love?
Um, I mean, I listen to an embarrassing amount of musical theater. um,
Me
I
too.
think
Don't we all?
I think I like so many kinds of music. So some artists I really like Muna. I really like Fletcher. I really like oh, who else? Oh, I should know. I love Ingrid Michaelson is my favorite artist. I think I'm gonna think more and have more answers. I love Next to Normal like a lot. That's my favorite musical. Now I'm blanking. I'm like,
The minute someone asks
what's her
a
name?
question like that, like what's your favorite music or what's your favorite book, like everything just goes
Matilda.
away.
Matilda is my favorite book.
I love Matilda.
That
Oh
is
yeah, me
still my favorite book. I just a big fan.
Yeah, I just started compiling a list on my phone of books I've read for that sole question.
That's so smart. That's a good. That's a. That's very smart. I should do that.
it's dedication.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All
Oh,
right, you go.
I was gonna say, we have an audience question. Arony, I think I said that right, asks, what piece of advice would you share um with with other young queer performance with coming up young queer performance? I don't know why I'm struggling saying that so much.
Um.
Queer performance blossoming.
Okay.
You know what? We got there.
um. I would say that that it's like it takes time, and I'm still very much learning that and practicing that. That I'm on a long performance journey. That like I am still learning the craft very much, and taking classes is incredibly helpful. And that the I have friends in all different places in their performance journeys that are getting jobs in a variety of different places, and that it happens like that people get their breaks, so to speak, at different times, and that everyone's journey is their own, and so it's like you can only compare where you are to yourself and what you're learning and doing and what your own goals are to yourself instead of a comparison to where somebody else is. Um, and to make sure you're, at going after the sort of things that you really want to be seen for, and that going after projects that really excite you, and you don't have to say yes to everything. Um, your time is really valuable, and that if there's something that really excites you, go after that. And if there's something that you don't feel comfortable doing, you don't have to be doing that. I hope that
Yeah.
helps.
That
Taking
is
notes as a
a
performer myself.
wonderful answer.
Okay.
Yes. Very good advice.
Thank you, Billy.
Good job with that.
Wonderful. So I read that you have fibromyalgia. Can you explain what exactly that is and how it affects your daily life and even the projects that you've done or are currently doing?
Yeah. Thank you for asking that. That is a very considerate question. Fibromyalgia is it's like a pain. I don't know exactly how to describe it, but it's it's similar but different to like dealing with chronic pain. And
No fun whatsoever.
yeah, it is not fun. I deal with like having um pain throughout my body and like different fog, like brain fog, and it comes in flare-ups.
Mm.
And I go to like a rheumatologist for it, and which is like a doctor who specializes, I guess, in the I don't know, that was like an unnecessary fact, but it's a doctor who specializes in these kind of I guess you would call it disorders, I think. And it comes in flare-ups, which means it's a little unpredictable, and it can be really affected by stress. So it always happens at like my
Ooh,
busiest times, which is
Oh no.
which
that
is
is
not
not
good.
good.
Exactly when I don't need it, it's like hello. So it
Oh,
means I need to like balance my schedule as much as possible and really try to take care of myself to my best ability. And I'm still learning how to manage it day to day. And I think it's a lot like we all deal with our bodies in different ways. That our bodies all have different needs, and I'm still learning. Honestly, I've only really since in the past year or two figured out how like a label for it, and have been trying to figure out what exactly I need for it. But it's manageable, and it's something that you have to that like I think it's something that I'll deal with. Like there's not a particular cure for it. It's something I always
Um,
deal with, but it's something that I'm continually learning how to better and better manage. So it will be fun. Okay. But thank you.
it's
That's a very considerate question.
it's wonderful that you can like learn that you're learning what's going on and how you're getting help and that there are new ways that you can help.
Well, thank you.
yeah. Um, the theme for this forum is finding connections in isolation. How did you and how are you currently coping with this stinky isolation of quarantine due to COVID-19?
Um, yes, that's a great question. I am learning a lot about myself in this time. I'm learning how to spend a lot more time alone. I'm someone who thrives on seeing other people, so I've not been a huge fan of this time, much like many people. This has been really hard for most people I know. For anyone who's doing really well, I'm so happy for you. But most people I know are having a very hard time, and I think that um, I guess I'm finding community by doing my best to stay in contact with people through different ways, using things like Zoom as much as possible or FaceTime. And I've been reading more and listening to music, been binging way too much TV. And I started like a play reading group that's every week that
Oh,
I've been working
So
on.
cool.
that sounds really cool.
Yeah, we've been reading a different play every week or pilots and just like picking it, casting it, and just like to get practice reading together, and yeah, it's been challenging, but I think also rewarding because I think a lot of us will know ourselves better on the other side. So I
Yeah.
don't know if that ended up answering the actual question,
Oh,
but
you did a pretty good
that's
job.
Yeah,
what
we did.
that's what I've been doing in this time. That's what I'm finding connection by staying in contact with people and making sure the people that I love are hearing that from me as much as possible also.
Yeah, yeah. And it also like um getting contact with people back with people that I haven't talked to in a long time is really cool. Is really important too,
Yeah,
I think.
that's
Yeah.
very good.
So because of the stupid isolation, Broadway is unfortunately closed. So how do you connect with the audiences in the isolated time? And like, how do you get them to connect with you?
Yeah, I have there's been a lot of different like online presentations of concerts and such that many people have been doing throughout this time to try to keep like audiences engaged. I've been involved in some of that material. I've also been turning some of my attention towards TV and film during this time because there's only so much we can do. But I've gotten involved in some of my projects have still been planning long term for what we're doing moving forward. And then I'm working on a project coming up that's going to be one of the shows that's opening up in the fall. And then I've been spending a lot of time on the things that can happen, like my writing and such. So um, some of it has just been such a guessing game. So there's been I think like as much as we can involve audiences by things online like the Zoom concerts and such. And I wasn't a part of this, but I know that like that Ratatouille concert happened where people were trying to find like a really accessible way to um,
Yeah.
get like audiences to be able to see Broadway performers for like $5 for a charity. And there's been a lot of like charitable concerts that people have been involved in, or a lot of like Zoom plays for free. And I think that's been a really great way to involve audiences as much as possible while still keeping a safe distance.
That's really good. We have another audience question that's kind of similar. But what do you miss the most about pre-quarantine life? It could be literally anything.
Um, I I really miss running into people I know and so like surprising myself with seeing
Oh,
people like
yeah.
around the like Times Square. I mean, I don't like Times Square that much to be honest, but I like being in that like close area, like on like Ninth, so I'm like over and like
Yeah.
seeing people who I work with, but like seeing them in a friendly way and not having to do like a business moment with them, but just like getting to see them and hear about what they're up to in a friendly way without having to like do a business moment and having like a surprise friendly action or interaction where we can be like close to each other. I really miss like surprise interactions with people.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did miss that. I didn't realize I missed that. That was fun though.
Yeah.
Right? Like when you run
Yeah.
into people that you don't know you're gonna see in your day, it can be
Yeah.
really
And then you just like say hi and then you just go on with your day, but you have that fun little interaction.
yeah. Or like they join you for a bit. Like that's not
Yeah.
yeah.
It was just so nice.
Yeah.
Um, I read with my stalkerly research. I read that
Oh.
you came out after college. Is that true?
That is true. Yes. That is correct. I I came out about my sexuality before that, but about my gender identity after college. I moved to the city. I didn't know any language really about gender identity very much until I was in college and was only starting to have an understanding. And then I was like, um, for a while I was like, well, non-binary just sounds like that's what everybody should be. And then I didn't really have the understanding that like not everybody felt that way. I was just like, it just seems like we should all do that. And then I was like,
Yeah.
oh, there's a reason I feel that way. And I was like, it's because because I feel that way. And then it took me a bit of being like really uncomfortable in certain situations and in the way I was presenting and understanding. Like, it took me being like really on my own in New York to realize that I was having like really specific individualized experiences, I think.
Hmm, it's really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what helped you realize that you were trans? Was there like a realization point? I guess you could
Um,
say.
I think for me, it was a series of like I do have like a moment where I really was like I have to I like cannot stand the way I'm feeling anymore, and I have to like tell people, and things need to be different. Which was I was at one of the jobs I was working, and I was wearing a dress, and I was I like came out of the bathroom, and I like looked in the mirror in the dress, and I just had like a full panic attack. Um,
Oh,
and I like walked up to someone who I was working with, who I was like close to, who's a friend, and I was like, I have to go home. And I left work. I was like, I'm feeling sick, and I left work, and I was like, I have to go home. I'm sick, and I had had some conversations about like feeling this way with like two other friends, but was like, I'm unsure. And I was like, I have to go home. I'm feeling sick. Also, please use they them pronouns for me. And I like left, and I like haven't worn. I think I have had to in shows, and then one time I did like with like this like pants thing under, but otherwise I haven't worn a dress like since that moment. And it was um I just was like, oh, I can't stand the like kind of like pressure that had been building up of like me avoiding how I had been feeling. Um yeah, I'm not sure exactly. I think, and then it was like a series of like understanding of the understanding of things that had I had been thinking my whole life, but it wasn't like I was young and new because I didn't have the language, I guess, but I understand now that the things that I felt when I was young was this experience. I didn't have that understanding then, if that makes sense.
yeah.
I didn't have a way to articulate it.
So we have an audience question, and it's a little bit of a sensitive question, so feel free to skip or answer in a short way. But um, so Max McCall wants to know what advice you would give to parents who are nervous about their child starting hormone therapy.
Um, I think I would ask, and instead of advice, because I guess that is a particular parent to child relationship. I think I would ask a lot of questions with the parent about what is making them nervous, and if it's about age, if it's a question of um, if they're questioning whether or not their child is, if it's about yeah, I guess it's like what is the root of the nerves would be my question, and like what if they can be honest with themselves and with their child about what is making them nervous about it. If I think like if there can be an honest discussion, and particularly I think like with someone professional about the what the root of those nerves are, because I think that can be really hard for a parent to be honest with themselves about what the cause of those nerves might be. I think there's a lot of reasons a parent might be nervous about that, and I think a lot of parents might be nervous about the how other people might perceive their child. They might be nervous about um, that not being something that that the child will continue to feel. But I think that the proof is in that I mean, I don't think the proof is that in that people who feel that way continue to feel that way, and that it is a life saving part of children's life. But I think that I guess my advice would be to have an honest discussion about the root of it, and with a professional.
That's an amazing answer. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a second audience question that is slightly related. So a lot of parents tell their children or people in general that they can't be a perfect ally to the person or the child, and they end up giving up when they have the opportunity to be affirming. So, what advice would you give to a nervous parent about how to be supportive and kind towards their person or child?
Yeah. I think like the best advice to a parent or to any ally, I think I would say is that like the um the best the most like affirming thing that any of us can have is like someone to listen. And I think like especially with parents, I think we we really want to know that our parents will like oof, we really want to know that our parents will still, I mean, personally speaking, will still be there and will still be there just as much. Like, I think, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I think it's really scary to know that someone you love and have like really looked up to and relied on, that you have to ask them to like really see you in a way that um, you are you are really asking them to as much like to really see you for you in a way that from before you could comprehend who you were, they saw you and decided in some sense that you were not. And I think that is like the root of why the parenting conversation is so hard for so many people. And that is not on parents particularly. I think that's on how society constructs what gender is versus sex. And I think like the more that society can understand that sex and gender are different, the more parents and children won't have this conflict. And I don't put that on any parents because parents have not, always like, and still don't have all the tools, but there are now so many places and resources for parents like this forum. And I know that like HiTOPS has so many resources that there are ways to learn. And like there are so many people who want to help parents now help their children, which is incredible. And I think like we really want to know that the people we absolutely idolize are gonna care for us just as much when we are fully ourselves, in a way that like we are so scared that other people may not see us. And it's like the we just so want them more than anyone to see us. And it's like we get that they didn't necessarily see us like that before we even had any language, which which is really hard. And like it's really so much bigger than our communication. um, and yeah, I think any amount of listening and seeking out resources, and any amount of practicing of pronouns when the kid is not around, that a parent can do, like in front of a mirror or looking at a picture of your kid and just saying the pronouns over and over again, can be so like can be so affirming for your kid, so that like or practicing with someone else, so that like everyone, I think like we understand that those slip ups absolutely happen, because it's like, I mean, like personally, I took a lot of psychology classes in school, so I'm like, I get it. There are neural pathways, and like it happens. And it's like, but like we also have to break down the same neural pathways in ourselves, and we also had to search out all the same information online. It was just like we just really did because it was so important to us because we needed to feel that seen. So we found it. So like it's this the same things that we hadn't learned, we sought out and found. So it's all out there. I promise all that information is out there. And we know how much you love us. So please, just like believe us. We wouldn't do such a hard thing if it wasn't so true. I think that's the answer.
It's
Because it's hard, but
it's so
just
great.
it's needed.
It's so
Yeah.
great that you can say all this and be so open and give all this advice. It is wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you're a trans parent, a parent of a trans person, watching right now, congratulations. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
trying to connect with your child in any way possible. Because if you're here, that means that you're probably either supporting a child or
You're trying.
trying to hear
You're
more about your child,
being
and
and
that's really
trying.
great. And I'm really proud of you.
thanks to my parents for being here.
Yes, thanks to
Cool.
JJ's parents for being
And
here.
for making me. So we had to.
JJ's parents, I love you. Thank you.
JJ's parents are wonderful people for making this wonderful person.
Ah! That's really nice. That's cool people. Um,
Okay.
anyways,
Who are one of your favorite inspirations, whether it be a famous person or just someone in your life, and why?
um, my favorite inspirations. Ooh. Um, I'm currently really looking up to. Ooh. I really. Oh, this is a good question. Um, okay. I'm I really like Jen Richards a lot. If anyone knows who that is, Jen Richards is on this show. Well, she's on a lot of shows, but she's an actress. She's a trans actress who I really look up to a lot, and is phenomenal. It's on the show on HBO, a couple shows on HBO, and that are don't watch them. They're inappropriate. So that's why I'm like, never mind. But she's a really phenomenal actress, and I really admire how she speaks, and she's in this phenomenal documentary called Disclosure on that's on Netflix about trans representation in media that I really admire and speaks like incredibly well about these issues. Where Nick Adams from GLAAD also speaks like really well about how like trans representation in media affects how people in the world view trans people.
That's so cool. I would say I'd check out the shows, but I shouldn't. Um, so, if you don't mind sharing, could you tell us the most surprising reaction you've gotten from coming out as trans? Or it doesn't have to be like a bad reaction, it could be funny or it could be like very nice. But
Yeah, my my sister said, "Yeah, I know."
Those are the best reaction.
And I
oh,
was
that's
like,
wonderful.
um, my sister was like, "Yeah, I know that tracks," and I was like, "I don't know exactly what that means, but I think I feel really seen, and I think it felt really good." Um, so yeah,
Those reactions are always fun.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you wish teachers knew about developing a gender inclusive classroom in school? Like, have you had any positive experience with teachers or administrators surrounding gender issues?
Yeah, I think I wish that teachers knew that. I think that there is a fear sometimes from teachers that like teaching certain things about identity like creates identities, which is not how it works at all. I think just like teaching about identity makes the people who are not that identity more supportive to the people who are. Um, and so I think I would just advise to start younger. I think that people think like they want to wait um, until people people are they. I think like the feedback from schools is always when kids are older because they won't understand it yet. And I tutor third third graders and a first grader as part of my work, and they are the best at correcting pronouns of anyone I've ever like worked with, and they like if one of them messes it up, one of them always is one of the people to be supportive and correct it. So I think um, like I I think that there's because they are don't like have the same like ingrained understanding yet, like it's easier to teach than to unteach. So I think like if we explain that like different understandings of gender younger, it's actually a lot easier for people. So
Yeah,
that's what I would say.
I agree. Yeah.
Um, were you gonna say something, Kelly? I feel like it cut
No,
you off.
I was just gonna point out the audience question.
All right, go ahead.
Um uh so in the audience we have somebody saying that they're in the closet currently, and which by the way, it's okay to be in the closet. You're so valid.
You're,
And they're asking if
you're
you have any
wonderful.
advice. Yeah, if you have any advice for coming out about your gender identity.
Yeah, I would say first of all I absolutely agree with Billy. That's like absolutely like okay, and I would say like the my um, biggest advice would be like take everything at your own pace. There's it's I think of coming out as like a bunch of individual coming out again because of the way like when we were talking about like how society views things. I feel like each meeting of when I meet someone, like I try to ask pronouns, and so like, and whenever I meet new people, I I'm always trying to like have my pronouns be known. So I think like each person that you feel ready to disclose that information to, or rather like instead of thinking of it as a coming out, maybe if you can think of it as like an allowing in, as people who you think that you can allow into that information and who you feel are allowed that information in your life because that is your information to hold on to, and anyone that you feel is allowed to know that information about you, you can offer that to, and that you don't owe anyone that information. Um, but if there's someone who you feel you want to allow to know that part of you, then you can offer them that, and that can be as as long or as short of a journey as you'd like. So any whoever yeah whoever you feel you can give that to, take your time, and that can be like if you feel like there is one person, if you feel like having one person know that in your life would make a huge difference, so you have someone to talk to about it, start with just one and see how that feels, and you may feel like that creates like a sort of um, snowball perhaps, or it may feel like for now that's all you're comfortable with, and any journey is okay with that.
Yeah.
It's different for
And
everyone.
yeah, a good way to also a good way to start what I did was come out to a close friend,
Yeah,
and
that
that makes you a
was
little bit
good.
comfortable, that you know will accept you. It makes you kind of more comfortable and more gets you more confident to come out to other people that you might want to come out to. If you
It also
if
gives you the space to like always like if you realize that wasn't correct, you don't have to like retell everybody.
Yeah,
So it's
and
always
writing it somewhere at the beginning is also can be really affirming too. So you just have it somewhere to like start affirming for yourself. Like I am, regardless of other people knowing it, like you are your identity. it doesn't take other people knowing that for that to be true.
If you change your name as well, you could always like have go to Starbucks and have them write it on the coffee cup, and when they yell it out, you could see if that one works.
That's a
Just a
great idea.
little trick.
That's awesome.
So being a young actor, director, and producer, do you feel it is crucial that the next generation of young theater goers to start seeing themselves in the stories that they are on stage?
Yeah, I do. I feel that's incredibly important. That's like my main uh, like mission right now. I think like we have to start seeing ourselves more uh, in order. Like I feel like not being able to see ourselves is incredibly limiting. I think if I had seen myself younger, it would have made such a difference for me. And I think it's important for other people to start seeing us in their homes. I think it's a way that other people start relating to us more as from consistent reinforcement of us in general.
So, kind of the same-ish question, except a bit more general. So, what would you want to say to the young non-binary and trans youth that are watching right now? It could be something that you wish you had known, something that you like learned, or something that you just would like to tell everyone.
Um, yeah, I think that you are absolutely enough, and that there are that it's like as scary as sometimes like things can seem in our journeys. There are absolutely there are so many of us, first of all, and we're all around, and there are so many ways to find community. There are so many resources if you are ever hurting, and uh, you are valid and you are loved, and you, yeah, you are enough, you are enough, you are enough. And you are exactly who you say you are, and who you are, and your definition of that can change a million times, and that is only for you to define. Um, yeah, that's what I would say.
That's a really kind message for you
That
to
is
share. I'm sure there are people in the audience that really needed to hear that.
that is so great. It's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Um, well, it seems like we are coming to an end of this interview. Oh no. Thank you, JJ, for
Thank
joining us today. We all hope that we will be able to see your work in person very soon. We appreciate you taking the time to talk with us today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Thank you, HiTOPS and Billy and Katie, for your like amazingly thoughtful questions. I really appreciate it.
It was so wonderful speaking with you, and thank you for everyone tuning in from home. And it is amazing that all of you shared your questions, and we have the and a big shout out to our amazing sponsors. We thank you as well.
Yeah. Youth Advisory Board members Grayson and Kenny will be back at 3:15 for a conversation with our last speaker of the day, Surrey. Jarrell Johnson. Hope I didn't butcher that.
So don't go away. Thank you so much for coming. Bye. Love y'all. Y'all are so valid.
Yes.